Hey, how you going? It's Jai that Aussie Metal with Crannk.com, and today I'm having a chat with Marty McCoy. Some of you may recognise him from the hugely successful hard rock band Bobaflex. Cool name,
Hugely
dude.
successful. I like that.
I killed it with my Aussie lingo there, but now your new band, The Lonely Ones, which is pretty much all of you guys, minus your brother Shaun in there, dude. So, how you going, man? Cheers for making some time to have a chat with me, dude.
Oh, no worries, man. Thanks for thinking about us. I'm doing pretty well. The lockdown is starting to ease up for everyone, so that's a good sign. Kind of feels like the end of a movie where the aliens start to leave the planet. We all come out from underneath the rock.
Yeah, man, things are starting to come good again over here too, which is really good to see, man. You've had a killer career, man, and a killer life in music, dude. Um, I like asking this for guys that have had such a big career like you, and it's always interesting for me, dude. What kind of music inspired you to begin with as a young fella in your home, dude? What were the parents cranking, or what kind of music was going through your house, dude?
So my dad had this huge record collection. He listened to everything, but the thing that got me wanting to play music was he was a bluegrass musician, and he'd have all these big bluegrass sessions in the living room, and there'd be people playing violins in my living room, and it was like everybody sang, and they all switched instruments, and this guy would sing lead, and this girl would sing lead, and my dad sang lead, just and have these awesome bluegrass sessions, and they were really good. Um, and I realized when I was a kid, I go, that's really hard. I'm going to play rock and roll. I don't think I can do that. But that's what inspired me, were these West Virginians just jamming down on these acoustic guitars. And I was really little. And I would sit in the middle of all of them, just sit right in the middle and watch everybody sing, and just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then the albums that started to change me was, I remember getting Appetite for Destruction, and that was it. It was over. I was like, I want to be like Slash and Axl. And then, then I got into Tool, and I saw Tool live in 1997 at Lollapalooza. And it was just like, I remember after watching that performance, it was like, you have to practice 6 to 8 hours a day if you want to come anywhere near as good as those guys are. So that's what started the whole insane boot camp, basketball, football team training regiment to be a good live band. So it was Tool. It changed my whole life. One show, I was like, that's it. It's over. Let's go.
That's really cool, man. So what was it? It must have been a really cool for you and your brother having that experience, man. Speaking of bluegrass though, dude, I digress a little, man. I've been cranking heaps of bluegrass lately, man. Lots of bluegrass and folk bluegrass, man. It's funny you mentioned that, dude, because it's kind of been a fair bit on my playlist lately. A lot of that murder folk bluegrass stuff, like Amigo and the Devil, and Tejon Street Corner Thieves, I think it is, and stuff like that. Really bloody cool, man.
Yeah, it's like, so I grew up on that stuff, and there's a sadness to it that you don't get in other music, and that's what always kind of turned me on. And when I'm writing songs, when we're writing songs, I'm like, look, okay, I love that chord progression, but I'm going to need you to go to the minor right there. And I think that's because my bluegrass upbringing. It's like you have to have that. It can be a pretty chorus, but it's got to have that little hint of sadness before it turns me on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get that, dude. I really totally get that. So how did you and your brother start forming a band? Like, obviously that the Bobaflex wasn't your first band, just kind of started. What was your first band you two got together? Was it just something with your family, like playing around on those weekends, or?
Actually, my first band, I played with Tommy since I was 11.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy got his drum kit too. His asshole pisses me off. He got his drum kit, and the day he unboxed it, he could play it. I didn't have that wasn't me. I got the guitar. I stood in the mirror with it forever before I could even play it. Trying to look cool first. But Tommy, I played with him. I remember the day he got his drum set. I could hit. Growing up in this little town in West Virginia, I could hit his window with a rock from my window, and he was just the guy. I was like, oh my God, somebody's got a drum kit. So Shaun had his band, and I had my band. And Jared, the original bass player in Bobaflex, was in that band when we were kids. So it was cool to be from a tiny little hometown and lucky enough to have these cool dudes that played music.
Yeah.
To be in that small of a town, you'd think there'd be slim pickings, and I found them all right there in the little tiny school. I mean, our high school was 500 kids, and I found the guys that I was going to play music with for the next 20 years.
That's really cool, because I grew up in small country towns as well, dude. Like, And you do kind of build those connections a lot more with people than you do with a city. I find living in a city, that sense of isolation, when you're in a small country town, you really get to meet it, you know, your kind of group, and you fall into your niche of people, dude? It must be cool to build something like you've built this career with music and take along these friends and go on this journey with your friends from back then, dude.
It was. And then, you know, my brother, you know, he was my brother, so I've known him. He's my older brother, so I've known him literally my entire life. But yeah, it was cool. I remember standing on stage with Mudvayne or Megadeth or something like that, thinking, and just like, we're from this little tiny town garage band in West Virginia, and we're standing up here with, you know, with Dave Mustaine, and he's asked us to come out and sing on the tour on this song. He's like, you guys do these harmonies, come out and sing the song with me. And I remember being a real surreal moment, like just this tiny little band got to do all this stuff. And you know, no one even heard of the town we were from. And here we are playing in front of 20,000 people with, you know, Dave Mustaine's one of my idols. I remember he was the coolest dude ever too, but he was one of the dudes when he walked into the room, I couldn't speak. I was like, he's like, hey, you know, blah, 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 and talk to me. And I was frozen. Same thing happened with Jonathan Davis. When he walked in the room, my brother was getting a tattoo. My brother's super cool. He's afraid of no one. He's like, hey, Jonathan, what's going on? And I'm just standing there like, just frozen like a deer in headlights. But I remember that kind of feeling, like, you know, being able to, this guy walking into our dressing room and like, it smells, Jonathan Davis, like, it smells like weed in here. You guys are the crazy Virginians I've heard about. I was like, oh my, Jonathan Davis heard about us. And I remember feeling just like, this is crazy from where we started to where some of the places that we ended up.
Yeah, it's funny, man. You mentioned weed because it comes up a lot for me. I'm not a drinker, dude. I'm a smoker. I'll put that out in the air, and it's come up a lot of times. And this, I'm not afraid to say that. But dude,
it's not so demonized anymore.
Exactly, man. I'm so motivated on it, dude. Through my life, especially more as I've got older, dude. It hasn't been something that's definitely slowed me down at all. In fact, it's helped me motivate as well with everything that's gone on, dude. Coming back to Bobaflex and your guitar skills, man, that must be a pretty cool way to round up things. I like the way you've rounded up your career with the band and called it an end, man. What would be your biggest highlight with Bobaflex, dude? Because we're talking about playing live. Do you have a real big highlight playing live?
Oh my God, so many.
Yeah, like, round off whatever you like, bro.
I guess the last one would be the one of the biggest things that I thought. I was like, so we played on a festival in Madison, Wisconsin, which Madison, Wisconsin, and the Midwest is like the Europe of the United States. Rock and roll is alive and well, and if you play, you know, somewhere in the country where you draw 500 people, in Madison you're going to have 2,000 people. It's just, they got great radio stations, and it's just like, it's just rock is wildly alive there. And we played this festival, and we went on. I remember Avatar was going on after us, and Avatar was starting out to before they became the massive dudes that they were. But I looked over, and it was noon, and we're playing, big crowd, massive crowd. I looked over, and Corey Taylor is bent down watching us play. And I was just like, holy shit. And there's been a bunch of moments like that. One time we were in Nashville. I told my brother halfway through the set, I was like, listen, I'll tell you something when the show's over. And he thinks I'm mad at him. And he was like, when the show's over, he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? It's like, Lizzie Hale's in the crowd watching the show. He goes, why didn't you tell me? I go, because I know you'd jump in front of me. And I know exactly what you do. And he was like, yeah, you're right. The same kind of thing. When we were on the Gigantour, Dave Mustaine would come out and watch the show, and the guys from Mike Portnoy would come out and watch the show, and we were not very well liked by the fans on that tour, because it was literally the guitar virtuoso tour with Symphony X and you know, bands like that. I mean, just dudes just doing, you know, and we were like the Kiss of the tour. So the fans were kind of like, this is weird. But the bands all were super awesome to us.
Yeah.
Bands would all come out and watch and hang out on our bus. And so there's been so many moments. Chad from Mudvayne, when he was with Mudvayne, he was just a cool dude. There's just been so many. I haven't met an asshole yet. Seven Dust were like, they kind of were our mentors early on in the beginning. They took us out on several tours and
cool
kind of, they're so cool. And they would watch us and critique us and be like, almost like a basketball coach. They would be like, okay, so right here, you do this, and kind of teach you, like, just really taught us a lot of stuff. So, I mean, I haven't met an asshole yet. Everyone says, this guy's a dick or that guy's a dick. And it's like, if you leave people alone, and they'll eventually, you know what I mean? You tour so long with someone, and you leave them alone and give them their space, everybody starts to finally come together, and everyone's been super cool to us, always.
Yeah, well, the music industry is, I'm noticing, I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I'm pretty well the same. All the guys I've spoken to, like yourself, and we're talking about Seven Dust, I had a chat to Lejean, I had a chat to John, and they were both super cool dudes, give me the time of day. Bert from the Used, yourself, such great dudes, man, and people don't realise how cool you guys are, just down to earth. You know, you love the music and the art. This is it, and that's why it pisses me off when I hear metal elitists kind of go, oh, no, it kind of does my head a little bit, dude.
It's like, I don't hate on anyone. Like, I noticed this too, touring with bands. Even if I'm like, oh, that band's pretty cool, by the end of the tour, I'm like, this is the greatest band that ever walked the planet, because you have this bond that happens, and you see this band play every night. You see them put their heart and their soul into it, and these songs start to stick in your head. And I'm like, you know, I'm always for, if anyone's got any kind of success. And, you know, there's certain like, if they're gonna go 110% and give everything up, and they're tight live and they sound great, and they're passionate about it, it's like, I'm a fan, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't tear anybody down. But like I said, once you start touring with those bands, they become something very special in your heart. Even if at first you're like, their music's okay. Tours over, you're like, that's the greatest band that ever walked the planet. Why are they not bigger? Why are they not the Beatles? What, you know? And I've felt that way with every band we've ever toured with.
Yeah, that's it. And you got to get amongst it and really support the scene, man. I love getting in there and too, and watching these bands, and it's hard to bring down these guys that have had this success, because you don't see all the years of toil and hard work and the shows they've played in the underground scene, like barely making enough for petrol money, dude. And then, you know,
absolutely,
all these years they make success, and, you know, they do good and they're decent people out of it. You know, it's kind of a bit much to be bringing that kind of thing down, you know.
It's a wonderful job. Like, that's what I say. I mean, even if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, oh, I have to go play guitar with my friends. My life is so hard. It's pretty awesome. And people are screaming and yelling for your songs. It's hard to be in a bad mood, even when you're hungover or something awful happens to the vehicle and you're stuck in a place, you know, for 10 hours getting your brakes fixed, and you got to rush and go play the show. It's hard to be in a bad mood, because we play guitars and sing and play drums for a living. It's really not fair. We should be in trouble for it. It's bullshit.
No,
you shouldn't be allowed to do it.
It's art, man, and like you guys are artists and musicians. Music is art, art is life. I say this so many times when I'm doing this, man. And you try and go a day without listening to music or listen to art. It's like, you know, it's like, I love what I'm doing, but you're an artist, and that's what you got to do. You got to create and keep bringing out work and, you know, stuff from the soul, dude. And that's what art is about.
My favorite job I've ever had. I mean, it's like I said, I wake up in the morning excited to and like, we rehearse when we're off. We'll rehearse 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, just because, I mean, it's like I said, I'm playing guitar with my friends. And even if it's, you know, we're wore out by the end of the day, but we know that we're getting better at our craft, and everybody in the band's pretty funny. So it's a good time. And it's like, you know, and when I don't rehearse, I'm like, I just feel like a pile of shit. Like, I don't have a purpose.
Yep. So when were you like going, okay, then I can actually make a career out of this, dude? When was that point that dropped for you, and you were like, dude, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, man. There's nothing that's going to stop me doing this.
I was probably about 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
I remember growing up in West Virginia, and I love West Virginia, but there's not a lot of opportunity. It's like, I remember being about 8 or 9 years old and people talking in school about my dad's going to get me a job at the plant. And I'm going to work in the coal mine. And I was like, fuck that. I don't want to do that. I already hated being at school for 8 hours. I already knew, you know, when the old timers tell you, find something that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I was like, that sounds awesome. You know, I like, still to this day, I can't stand to be somewhere 8 hours that I don't want to be at. And it's this horrible feeling. And it's quite, the people that do it, I'm like, more power to you. I can't do it. So I knew at a very, very young age that I was going to be a musician, and I just thought the same, the way you would think as a professional fighter, or as a, like I said, football player or something like that. It was like, well, you have to be the best. And the way you become the best is you work as hard as you can. I don't think I'm the best, but I think, I'm definitely on the professional level.
Yeah.
For that hard work ethic and that 24 hours a day, let's grind kind of thing. And then it becomes, you get used to it. And it becomes, when you don't do that, you feel like, like I said, you have no purpose, or you feel like, I need that. I need that. The quarantine's been kind of crazy, so we haven't been able to rehearse.
Yeah.
We're in Ohio, and Ohio shut down. We're in Columbus, Ohio, and it shut down first and had very harsh restrictions, which I think was a smart move.
Yeah.
When you don't know and you don't understand, you want to keep millions of people from dying. It's probably a good move to shut everything down.
Yeah.
But it was that thing where we couldn't, we couldn't rehearse or do anything. And it was like, it was bizarre because I'm a busybody. I don't know if you can tell by talking to me, but I am full of energy. And it was a strange time. But yeah, I look forward to that. I can't wait. When we're rehearsing every day, I'm in a great mood and call them, why are you late? Where are you at? I've been here for 20 minutes. I'm supposed to be here. Kind of thing. So it's a great job. And then when you start to get actually paid to do it and people want your records,
Yep.
Well, you can't beat it.
Yeah, man. So well, Bobaflex winding up, dude. You're like going, okay, and we're going to call it a day. And on an amazing career, 7 studio albums and your EPs and your singles and everything else that's gone with it. Countless thousands and thousands of people you play to, dude. After talking to you even for this short time, I know in your head you're like, man, I'm going to do something else. So how did this progress into the Lonely Ones, dude? Where did this idea come from?
So my brother's daughter turned 13, and he was like, we could see it on him. Not that he wasn't happy in the band, but he was happiest when he was home with his daughter, and he's like calling me up and her recitals this week, and listen how she's starting to kick ass at volleyball, and her serve's getting better. And like, he just had so much passion, was so happy that one day he was just like, I've missed. And not, we were fortunate enough in our career later to be able to schedule things, and he could go on vacation, and he could, fly home for birthdays or be off for things like that, big events. He just wanted more and more of that, and we could see it on him. And so when he said, I want to be home, we were all like, what the fuck are we going to do? This, and the 4 remaining members, we were like, let's change the name, because we don't feel like it's Bobaflex without Shaun.
Yep.
So it just wouldn't have felt right. It's like we could have played the songs. We've done the shows where I sang because Shaun was sick or in the hospital or something like that. When you're in a band and tour as much as we do, you see almost everything. People sing with the flu and broken ribs and all this crazy shit. So we knew how to play the Bobaflex songs down a member. We knew how to do that. But it just didn't feel authentic, and it didn't feel right. And it was a hard decision to make, but all of us were like, well, we're not done. No, Jake had been in the band 2 or 3 years when this happened. Jimmy'd been in the band 5 years. They definitely hadn't had their fill. They're like, the fuck do you mean we're not going to play anymore? So we decided, let's change the name. The name came from that kind of thing where when you tour as much as we do, some of your, are we able to have relationships at home? And is it fair to have relationships at home for the people at home? Are we destined to be, the thing that we love so much kind of makes you lonely?
Yeah.
Kind of. I have a damn blast.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You wonder about those things. And it was a pretty tough year. Some things in my personal life went pretty wacko. So the point of the name kind of encompassed everything that we were feeling at that time. But the idea of the band was just like, there's no way we're stopping. This is too much fun. We've learned so much about the industry and how radio works and how touring works and cut so many corners. And it's like, we can use all these things that we learned that we don't want to do, and all these things that we do want to do. And we had a really good fan base with Bobaflex, and our plan was just to kind of parlay those fans into following us, and they did.
Yeah.
They're all like, yeah, let's go, and can't wait for the new stuff. And it's like, because you never know. They'll be like, fuck you guys, stuck without Shaun. And you know what I mean? And some people thought that. Some people have said that, but very, very small percentage of people said that. But everyone was really excited and like, can't wait to hear the new music. We put out the first single. It was a great, huge reaction. Put out the next single. Everybody was super excited about it. Getting ready to put out a third single. The album's done. We have the album done. We're just kind of, with social media and stuff, to put out an album, where do you go from there? Social media, you forget what you looked at 15 minutes ago, so you got to stay relevant in people's faces. So we kind of had this plan, and the way people get music now anyway is, it's awesome how you get music. It's just not the way it used to be.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of adapt to the way the new things are going. So that's what we're doing. It's kind of releasing a single. Our plan was every 10 days, and then the virus hit, so we got pushed back. And we were on schedule to do that shit too. We had it all planned out. Every 10 days, new song, new video. And everything got smashed. And so we're getting back on schedule. But so we just, I guess the takeaway was us, the four of us were like, we support Shaun very much so. And we think it was the right move for him, definitely.
I totally get his headspace, dude, because I reached a position in my life too where I've got 3 daughters, dude, and I was working all the time. I was on shift work, and I had bugger all time with my kids, and that was only for 5 years, dude. I'm like, now I spend my days doing this so I can take my kid to school, and I just do this for the love of it, man. Like every hard rock and metalhead, we don't make any money doing this. We just love the heck out of it, dude. So
right on.
I
I get it, man.
I totally get him, man. It's just that's such a cool story, man. I want to spend some more time with my daughter. I get it as a father to 3 girls, man. That is so cool, man. And it must be great to have your fans kind of come along with you for this journey with the Lonely Ones. And it must be not only a great feeling, but also a great feeling to start fresh. Like you've got the Lonely Ones, it's all you guys, but you've also got this free reign to kind of experiment with a little bit of a different, sound as well.
Absolutely. That was the thing. Back to the fans real quick. They were also very supportive of Shaun's decision. They all said the same thing that you said. They absolutely got it. They're like, yeah, I hate that the band is not going to be together anymore, but we totally understand. And then they were excited and followed us on. And you're correct. It was scary at first, and then it became exciting. It's like, well, we can do whatever we want. And we trusted our fan base enough that that some people might not dig it, but most of them would stick with us, and we trusted them enough, and it became exciting. It's like, okay, well, we can do anything that we want. Jake and Jimmy are Jimmy's not, but Jake is relatively new in the band. And in Bobaflex, when someone joined the band, we never said, okay, this is how it's done. You just listen and play and show. We never did that. We're like, here's your influence. But Jake feels, now that Jake and Jimmy feel that they didn't come into a band. Now this is their band too.
Yeah.
So they're super excited. They're original members now, and their influencers are way more. They're comfortable enough to push their influences way more. And
I bet you they had a ton of ideas as well, like you're saying.
It did, and it made the sound of the band different. And I love that kind of thing because I don't want to make the same record over and over again. And sometimes my well is dry when it comes to inspiration or things. And these guys are just flooding in ideas. And Jake's got a different style of guitar than I do, totally different style. Sure. And Jimmy, so like Jake is more into like I Prevail and Bring Me the Horizon and stuff like that, which I am in now. Jake's turned me on to these bands. Jimmy's if you've ever seen a picture of Jimmy, he's Rolling Stones 110%. And Aerosmith, he looks like he walked out of a time machine in the 70s.
Yeah.
Tommy and I, our influences are relatively close to the same. So you get this mixture of all 4 different influences, and and they feel like they're equal. We always treated them as equals, but they feel more confident and stuff. And so you get it sounds different than Bobaflex.
Yep. So that being said, how did you work your songwriting and song composition for the forthcoming album?
Just got in a room together and started writing. And someone would play something. I was like, what's that? And someone else, like either one of us would bring a whole song to the table or parts of songs. We just got in a room, and it was like as soon as the tour was finished and Bobaflex was finished, we immediately turned. I believe we took one day off and went immediately into the rehearsal spot and started writing like crazy. And it was fun. It was exciting. And it just like came out like just flowed like a river. And like, shit, we got an album done. And then we went into our long time, my best friend, one of my best friends ever, Sonic Lounge Studios, Joe Veers, who we worked with on several Bobaflex albums. And he was like, hey, look, I know, he was just super cool. He's like, we'll worry about the budget later. Let's just get in and get this album done. And he worked his ass off, and we were comfortable with him. And he's almost like a fifth band member, and just had a great time doing it. And it just happened so naturally.
It's got an amazing sound, dude. Some full-on hooks, man. I'm like full-on rocket. I having a bit of a bummed out weekend this morning. I put that on this morning. I'm like, we are the lonely ones, man. Cool track, dude. Eternal Sadness, man. I'm looking forward to the album, and I'm glad you guys waited up, man, because you have that great live feel, like from the live shows I've watched with your Bobaflex stuff, and it would be really a shame to drop an album and just kind of have it sit in limbo, dude, not be able to play it live. So it must be a kind of a good feeling to go, look, man, I've got some shows coming up, July, I think it is, and then up into October, or what's the deal?
Yeah. We got a really good booking agent by the name of Alex Gilbert, and he's been very, very smart about the way we've navigated through this, the pandemic, the Black Plague of 2019-20. He's been amazing about it. He's had a lot of, we've had a lot of questions. He's had a lot of insight. We work together very well. But yeah, that sometimes you make decisions and they're the worst timing ever, and sometimes you make decisions and it just works out just right. So us thinking about doing the singles one at a time, every now and then it works out in your favor, and becomes a good decision. So if we would have just dropped the whole record, people are like, oh, that's a great record. This dropping singles keeps them excited, we only have one song, so they get to really know that song. And then you drop another one, they get to really know that song, and the anticipation for the next song. So when they come to the show, when we're ready to finally play live shows and stuff, they'll know all the material.
Yeah.
Because, you've gone to a concert before and someone's dropped a live record and they play 7 songs you never heard, and you're like, I don't know, it's a good show, but I don't know any of the damn songs.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, I'm really missing live shows, dude. That's the one thing I'm missing out of this, dude, because I've been able to keep connections with artists like yourself and still be able to talk. But the gigs, man, I'm hanging, even if it's like social distance, like gigs, like I'm easy, man. Just get me some shows, bro.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel like one of my favorite things is to be playing live, and I know that. But man, I miss it. Like I never took it for granted, and I always had a wonderful time on stage. And after the show, I always go out, hang out with the crowd until the bar throws us out. I mean, Bobaflex was notorious for that. The club winner, all right, already, everybody out. We're like, wait, one more, man, just let's hang out. Yeah. So we were definitely. I never took it for granted, but oh man, I'll never for 1 second take it for granted ever again.
Yeah, and there's nothing like that crowd interaction. I bring it up heaps with people too, like going to a show and supporting the scene, not only like the headline bands, but getting there and, like, as we were saying before, watching the first bands, man, watching those support bands come up through, and the crowd interaction afterwards. There's nothing like it, dude. You're not going to get that experience, And like, I also want to talk about streaming. It's great when people chuck you a like, follow, and whatever on your streaming networks, dude. But where's the best place we can get along and support you boys, man, with this album and everything else you got coming on?
So we use this company called TuneCore.
Yep.
And TuneCore is amazing. I'm sure you've heard of them. And they put us on every digital platform possible.
Cool.
We upload our song to TuneCore, and wham, it's everywhere. So if you use Spotify, you use Apple Music, you use Deezer, you use Pandora, it's all there, all in one shot. So you can find us anywhere. YouTube, like that's we're trying to have a video for every single. That way, just to keep it interesting and I love doing videos. A buddy of mine, Keith Williams, and I do all our videos together. We co-direct them together, and to me, it's another creative outlet. I love it just as much as doing, like, Eternal Sadness. The band's like, what's the idea? I was like, I've got it all in my head. They're like, okay. I'm like, you grab this. Like, all right. And then it's so much fun to watch what you think about pop up on the screen. Sometimes it's cheesy. Sometimes it's better than you thought it was going to be. But it's still fun as hell to do that. And my buddy Keith, he's one of my best friends too. Like, we just have a blast doing it. And so that's what we're talking about doing, is like a video for every song. Some are concept videos. Some are just straight rock performance videos, which are always fun to do. And it's like doing a record when it's from the, you know, the concept to the final product. I just love doing that shit.
Yeah, man, and it's art, dude. Like the finished film clip, man, and you same generation as me, man. Like you'd sit there watching the film clips, dude, and half the time the film clip of the band would be like, "Oh man, that's cool. Gonna go out and get some more of that, dude."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the day of watching the bouncing ball is over. You got to have something interesting to. And everybody's, you know, like that's the thing with the new band that we sat down and talked about. It's like everybody, you got to put yourself in the palm of everyone's hand. They're sitting there with their phones. There's so much content. There's so many dudes getting knocked out in one punch and all this crazy shit happening on the internet. It's like, so you know, if you just put up a video of nothing, it's like it's going to get lost in the wash.
Yeah.
But you do have that wonderful ability that everyone, their TV, their music, everything is in their hand. So if you can get it, you know, push it past the noise, man, you got quite a hell of a platform out there.
That's it, man. Being accessible, staying relevant, slowly releasing those tracks, dude. I've actually seen a lot of bands doing exactly what you guys are doing, and it just makes smart sense to give everyone a little bit of a taste as the album comes out instead of dropping it all in one bloody hit, because everyone's just got this one song, move on to the next thing. So, I love albums, dude.
I do too. I love albums too, but people, I mean, these days people cherry pick the songs anyway. Yeah. You put out a whole album, you'll look and be like, those are two or three strongest tracks that everyone picked, even though this track at the end is my favorite track. No one heard the damn thing because they work in, you know, people just buy singles anymore. They have playlists. And you know, there's people that have albums, so we still do the album, we still press it, we still do the vinyl, do all that stuff. That's crazy too. Who would ever, if I told you 10 years ago, hey, I'm going to start a vinyl company, you'd be like, are you crazy? And now it's so sought after. You never know what's going to work. And but yeah.
Old school metalheads like us, dude, and rockheads are just cranking this, man.
Exactly. And I still love holding that record in our hand. And that's when we decided to do vinyl. I was like, if it sells or not, I just want one for myself.
Yeah.
We'll pay the costs and we'll do whatever just so I can have my own fucking record in my hand and go, look at that. I mean, it was worth it. And they sold really well. And people like people buying vinyl and stuff. It does sound really good too. Which I thought, whatever, it's bullshit. It doesn't sound good. And the first time I put our record on, actual record, I was like, what? I didn't even know we sounded that cool. So you know, that was the reason why we did vinyl, though. I kind of felt like you had to do it, but I just did it for my own self-indulgent reason so I could hold my own record in my hand and go, aha!
Yeah, I've gone to some metal shows, man, and, like, there's been vinyl stands. Guys have come there with, like, full vinyl boxes to sell to, like, the metalheads and people rocking out at the shows, dude.
Absolutely. It sounds good, and, I mean, it's just cool. That artwork that big. That's one of the things that always turned me on. When I was younger, I would go buy records just because of the artwork. Okay, let's give it a shot. Sometimes it was shit. Sometimes it was amazing. But the artwork always grabbed me first.
Yeah, I was the same, dude. I picked so many albums when I was younger, walked into the stores and grabbed something just for the album artwork, dude. It's really cool. Hopefully that doesn't kind of ever die out, dude, because you can't get that on the digital, man, having that vinyl, like you're saying, dude, or you
open it up.
Special CD, dude. It's the way to go.
Read all the thank yous and read all the who produced it and all these things that were inside and like I said, I discovered so many artists that way. I discovered Iron Maiden that way. So I was young enough. I didn't know who Iron Maiden was, but I was like, this Eddie dude on the cover is the coolest looking thing. And then on Motley Crue, I remember grabbing the album and thinking, these chicks are so satanic, man. I got to hear this.
Yeah, it's funny that I was kind of the same, man. Some of the stuff I used to look as full evil now, I'm like, that's not even evil, but I'm Berlin. Like, my eyes would roll if I was a young fella and some of the stuff I listen to.
Yeah, that's why I thought Kiss was the most evil band in the world. Now, my girlfriend, here's the thing. So my girlfriend thinks I listen to pop music. I'll wake up, she'll be listening to Cradle of Filth, getting ready for work and stuff. And I'll go, who the hell is that? She's like, Paradise Lost. I go, that's the heaviest thing I've ever heard. And she's turned me on to all these crazy heavy bands. And it cracks me up because she said, you know, she'll go to concerts and people will actually ask her, oh, did your boyfriend bring you here? Have you ever heard of this band? She listens to way heavier music than I do. Way heavier music.
That's
like,
cool.
what?
That is so cool. You should never judge, man, a book by its cover, mate. Never ever. That should teach everyone kind of watching now. Never judge, man, because sometimes it could be the missus taking the partner to that metal show, dude.
Yeah, she looks like a princess, and our apartment's decked out in all pink, but she's listening to this satanic metal in the bedroom. I'm like, I mean, all the time I walk in the room and go, what in the hell is that? That sounds like what demons would torture you to. And she's like, oh, blah, 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 this band, and they're from, they're a black metal band, and knows everything about all the genres and everything. And I'm just like, cool, I'm listening to Cage the Elephant. And
it's good to have that kind of broad range. I love death, man. As I've got older, I've definitely appreciated death more, death metal.
Yep.
Marty, this has been an unreal chat, man. I'm going to wind it up now, dude. Just before I do, man, last words, shout outs, thank yous, man. Anything I may have forgotten to chuck in there, bro?
No, I think we covered it all, man. I really enjoyed the interview. I liked how you just kind of shot from the hip. Yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, I want to, shout out to all our fans that stuck with us. Amazing. I mean, I'm a lucky dude, man. We're all lucky. And as soon as this whole thing is over with and we're back to doing concerts, man, you're going to see new energized four individuals ready to rock and roll.
That's awesome, man. Hopefully it goes really well for you guys over there and we start getting some people rocking out over in Australia, because I would love to fucking see you boys over this way, man.
I'm dying. I'm dying to come to Australia. I'm dying for it, man. Like I said, you cross that pond and rock and metal are wildly different, and the way it's received. I mean, the States are amazing. I love the States. But God, I see bands that do well in the States go over to Europe and they're kings. And they're playing, 10,000 seaters, where here they're playing, 1,500 seaters. And they're over there and people are going nuts, and they're still buying records and buying shirts. And it's just a different, you know what I mean? It's just, I just can't, we're coming. Doesn't matter what happens. We're coming over if we got to take out credit cards and finance everything ourselves. We've done it before. We're not afraid to do that shit.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. That would be totally cool to catch you guys down under. I'm really looking forward to the album and everything the Lonely Ones and yourself do, dude. Thank you so much for making some time to have a chat with myself, bro. Massive horns across Australia, bro. And yeah, man, we'll have to do this again, dude. This was a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much, man. You guys take it easy, and thanks for having us on, man. Thanks for thinking about us. Appreciate it.
Cheers, brother.
Later.